Hello car lovers, and today we have a Nissan Sentra on our channel, and this is a special edition. This is Nissan Sentra SR Midnight Edition. So let's check out this car from outside and from inside later. And this car was brought to you by Worldwide Automobile, located in Brooklyn, New York. All the information is on the plate. And let's check out this car from the outside first. As you can see, the Midnight Edition includes black grille, black painted headlights inside, black wheels. There are special Midnight Edition black wheels, black exterior mirrors, and black accents throughout. And this car was already good looking from the beginning. And also you get the spoiler here, black spoiler in the back, to accentuate the feel of a sportiness. You have this painted black downforce type of thing on the bumper, and you have the black accents everywhere. You have the exhaust pipe, single exhaust pipe on one side, on the left side, and very good looking vehicle. This car comes equipped with many standard features, and they are all awesome because this car is very practical and very usable. I had this car as my first leased car in New York in 2013, and I really loved it. Let's check out on the inside. And to open this car, you have this key. Nissan calls it intelligent key. You keep it in your pocket. You also have the buttons to lock, unlock, of course, trunk release by holding this button, and panic. And you keep this in your pocket. You can also lock and unlock with this button on the handle. Tapping once to lock, it's gonna beep twice, and then there is no sensor here, so you have to press on it to unlock as well. And then you can enter the vehicle. And as you can see, the build quality, I was always impressed with build quality of the Nissans. Even the cheapest Nissans, they have a very good build quality. So if you think that only German cars have a very good build quality, you would be wrong. I can attest to you that this car was built very well. And as you can see, everything is laid out very well. You have only automatic driver side up window, up and down, basically automatic. You have a good handle here. You have this plastic, carbon fiber looking plastic. There are a lot of plastics on this car that are cheap, but the build quality is what always how I justified the plasticky bits, and they're really good in this car. You have the sitting position here, and as you can see, it's more of a sporty sitting position than a regular seat. You get the two types of seat in the Sentra. This is a sporty type of seat, as this is SR version of the Sentra. So here's the sitting position of this car, and as you can see, you sit a little bit higher than usual, but it's very good for visibility and everything else, because this car is more practical than anything else. Of course, it's sporty at the same time. Also, as you can see here, as this is a special edition Sentra, you have the special edition Sentra Midnight Edition carpet mats, and it's pretty cool, you know. These small details are really nice. Okay, as we hop inside, door has a very good feel to it when you close it. It feels like a more expensive car in this car. Even though this car is almost $23,000, this car is very good in build quality. I can tell you this right away. And as you can see here, the steering wheel is straight from 370Z, which is pretty cool if you ask me. And I really like the design of this car. You know, it's at the same time it's sporty. It's like it's small to look at, but you know, when you're sitting in a driver's seat, but at the same time it's kind of roomy. You don't feel cramped in here. You don't feel like you have a you know, small amount of space, you feel like you very comfortable here. Let's start this car and see the start. You have the rotating dials in the beginning, of course. All these little details add to sophistication of this vehicle, and this car has been on the market since 2013. And when I first got this car, I'll tell you this from my personal experience, I really felt surprised with this car. Even though this car, when I got it, had 130 horsepower, I was kind of surprised, I'll tell you this honestly, that I had this type of performance, and later on I found out that the car weighed less than 3,000 pounds. So this helps Sentra feel a little bit sporty and a little bit you know, mingle, a little bit of you know, stable on the road, and you know, it has adaptive steering in terms, meaning that if you go faster, steering wheel gets more tighter. If you go slower, steering wheel feels more softer. So that you should know right away. And when I thought that it's gonna be, you know, overwhelming when you're driving, I really liked it. It grew on me, and it feels very comfortable. So in terms of engineering, I think this vehicle's engineers done a very good job of making this car exactly how people would appreciate it, you know, if that, you know, if that makes any sense to you. But what I'm trying to tell you here is that the car was engineered well. And as you can see here, the design also is there. Japanese cars are really good looking cars. You have a heated seats here for the passenger and for the driver. You have a coin slot here. You have the Cvt transmission. The only gripe that a lot of people, lots of people had about this car and still have, is how Cvt whines when you push the throttle more, and I think that's a little bit overwhelming when you go higher in speed and when you accelerate more. But the car, you know, you get used to it, and that's the beautiful part about Sentra. And when I owned it for 2 years of a lease, I really liked it, you know, and I felt like it was a very good car also in terms of driving. And for the younger people and those who want to save on gas, I think it's a good car as well. This particular car has 124 horsepower, inline 4, and it produces I think it eats in terms of gas, this car also has a 37 mile per gallon on the highway, which is really good. So when you're thinking about saving money on gas, I think this car should be on your list. Also, in terms of the infotainment system in this car, you have a basic infotainment here. As you can see, you have a smaller screen. You can get a bigger screen with navigation in this car as an option, and you can get rear dimming rear view mirror as well. And you can also get a Bose sound system in this car, which this car does not have, but you can opt for it. And I really like these dials as well. Let's look at them more closely. Car likes to rev. I can imagine if this car had the automatic transmission, I think it would have been more engaging to drive, perhaps, but I think in terms of the fuel efficiency, I think CVT was the actual reason why you know, they implemented this transmission here, because of the fuel efficiency. And I like this huge screen, you know, it's a big screen in the middle, and I think you can go through many different options in terms of the mile per gallon and all the information about the vehicle in here. You can go through many options in this screen, big screen, in terms of the fuel efficiency, how car drives, when you have to fill up for gas, all the different information about the car. You can get all this information here by pressing on this button on the steering wheel here on the left side. And this car has the many different features, including the cruise control. Unfortunately, it does not have adaptive cruise control. I think in this price range it's only normal to have a regular cruise control. Let's see all the menu features of this middle screen here. And you have a mile per gallon, audio, warnings of the car, settings, of course, actual car. I think this would be the position of the car, perhaps. 29 miles per hour average speed, trip B. It's a digital, so you can reset it through the menu here. In terms of the steering wheel feel, I'll tell you this, that it feels sporty. So this car, even though it's not a sports car, just like for example GLI, Volkswagen GLI or GTI, and it doesn't compete in that segment, but this car is a very good beginner car for those who want to, for example, learn how to drive. This car is very forgiving. It's a front-wheel drive vehicle, and it lets you feel the car very well. It doesn't push too hard, and it's not that slow at the same time. It's somewhat in the middle, and that's what I really appreciate about Sentras. And they are well made in terms of performance, in terms of practicality, in terms of how people want to use them. And those who built this car, Nissan company, they really knew who were they targeting in terms of the people who gonna buy these cars. Nissan really knew that if we want to build a nice car, let's build a car in a different type, and I think that this Sentra goes very well for the beginner drivers, and I think you can use this car daily, and I'm sure this car will be reliable as well. You have no automatic climate controls. You can opt for it in SR Turbo, and also in a SR Nismo Sentra. These two vehicles that I mentioned are higher in price range and in features than this car. This car sits a little bit higher in options from the SR, regular SR, and this car is SR Midnight Edition. This vehicle was offered by Nissan as a new way to to refresh this model, and the body style changed from the outside as well since I've first got it. And overall, I think in terms of this interior, I would give this from 1 to 10. I would give this car interior 7, knowing that this car is practical, at the same time knowing that this is a very good price range and it's not an expensive car, and knowing that it doesn't offer crazy amounts of luxury, but it has a very good build quality, and that's what I appreciate, and that's what I think needs to be praised in this car, of one of the most important things. Let's check out the back seats. As you can see right now, I'm sitting on the back seat of this Sentra. It's a very roomy car. I'm 6 feet. I have a headroom, enough headroom, but if you are taller than 6 feet, you might have a little bit of trouble here fitting comfortably. But in terms of the how much space you have when you sit, this car is very comfortable. I'm sitting almost comfortably behind myself. I would move a little bit back to be even more comfortably, and I think this would be a very good sitting position. I would have this much leg room, and I think this would be enough. You also have 2 USB ports in the back that are able to charge your phone. Very useful feature. I like the quality of these seats. Even though they're cloth, they make you think that they're gonna be very reliable. I feel like you know, this material is gonna last a long time. Very good build quality. And you open it by pressing the button under this chrome plastic. You have a rear view camera here, backup camera, and you have a cargo net here and a very roomy trunk. As you can see here, plenty of room in this trunk. Very good height. Right off the bat you see how high this trunk is and how deep it is. You can comfortably transfer. I mean, you can travel with 5 people here and they can stow all their luggage in a bag. Not all of it, but most of it will fit here, and very big trunk. And as you can see here, this is that inline 4 engine, 124 horsepower. I know you're thinking it's not a lot of power, but believe me, this car weighs under 3,000 pounds, under almost 2,900 pounds, almost. It's 2,900 pounds even. And I think that helps this car be somewhat responsive. And CVT is, even though it whines a lot, it propels this car in somewhat good fashion. So I think it's a good engine. I hope you liked today's review of this Sentra SR Midnight Edition. This was Cars at 100. See you next time. Don't forget to subscribe.